Good morning and welcome to the Mini Storage Messenger Self-Storage webinar series. I'm Poppy Behrens, co-publisher of Minico Publishing, and we're delighted to have you in the audience today. This is one of several informative webinars planned for self-storage owners, operators, managers, investors, developers, and other industry professionals. The sponsor of today's webinar is Smyrna, Georgia-based Universal Management Company, with one of my favorite self-storage people, Ann Ballard, company president, as our presenter. Ann founded the company more than 15 years ago with Norma Taylor. Today, a global industry consultant, Ann has served for more than a decade on state and national self-storage association boards. She has written many articles for the Mini Storage Messenger and many of our other publications, as well as others that are out in the industry. And Ann is a regular contributor to our annual Self-Storage Almanac. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Mini Storage Messenger, providing the self-storage industry with in-depth news and information. Each issue of Messenger offers cover stories and feature articles on the most timely industry topics and trends. Monthly columns contributed by industry experts and accomplished business professionals address a wide range of topics including security, facility operations, technology, legal issues, legislative updates, construction, and development. We also publish a variety of other self-storage data sources such as the ones you see listed. For more information, please visit ministoragemessenger.com. Throughout today's presentation, we invite you to submit questions during the webinar. To do so, simply type your question in the question area and click Send. While we will try to answer each question to the entire group during the webinar period, those that cannot be answered will be addressed privately after the webinar is concluded. The webinar is being recorded and will be available for viewing on demand from our archives at ministoragemessenger.com. Today's presentation should run about 45 minutes with the remainder of the hour open to questions and answers. And now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Ann. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, Poppy. Hope you're doing great today. It's so nice to have all of you with us today. And today our topic is going to be Fee Management Specialist. Are we right for each other? So let's go ahead and get started. Universal Management was founded in 1993, and we began managing for a single client, his small portfolio, and helped him grow his portfolio over the years. And since our very inception, we've been focused on what we call CTO, cash to owners. And it is kind of our overriding bottom line view of self-storage operations. That's all the money given to the owners at the end of each month after paying all the bills and servicing the debt. We currently manage over 40 facilities in 11 states, and this year we've been named top operator number 36 in the Mini Storage Messenger magazine and number 33 in Inside Self Storage. Featured here in this photograph are just some of our team members, most of them, and we have 16 here in our home office in Atlanta. A couple of things about our company that make us special, unique, and different from other management companies in the industry is our industry activism, both on a local, statewide, national, and global level. We are involved in self-storage operations and measurements of performance around the globe for our many customers, not only our full-service management customers here in the U.S. And part of that activism means that we maintain continuous improvement is our goal for all of our locations. Even those that are brand new will have continuous improvement projects starting their second year in service. Each of our stores that we work with, although all are individually owned and separate ownership groups, each of those stores that we design is designed to work in the real world, being actual operators of self-storage and having been behind the counter myself on many, many occasions. The traffic flow, the operational systems, the focal points for the customers, the amenities, as I said, all of that is designed to work in the real world to bring us back the most effective lease-up possible at the highest possible rental rates. A couple of other things that make us very unique is Universal has its own online staff training website, where we are camera to camera with each of our managers. They have a chat bar such as you have today, as well as a PowerPoint instruction, and we archive those as well. So our busy managers can check in later after they've rented that customer the unit and catch up with what we're discussing in training. the month of March, this month, we've probably already done 4 different class segments and have seen great improvement in our teams because of it. We also make available the owner's reports on our own website, owner's reporting website, so that owners can access the reports about the properties, whether it's financials or operating system reports, or maybe a bid we've gotten them on a project we're working on. And they can do that anywhere they can get online. In addition, Universal produces one of the very best feasibility and forecasting packages in the industry. And we have a lot of great friends in the business that we've known and I've known for the last 20 years I've been involved. And they're all wonderful independent consultants. But because we operate self-storage as well, our forecasting and feasibility packages tend to be closer to the actual results that are achieved in the industry. In addition to those items, our marketing, telephone, and auction processing are all top of the market and top of the industry. And marketing and telephone are 2 of the things that are my specialties for the group. We use state-of-the-art standardized processes for all our facilities, whether they're small or large. And in our own portfolio, we represent about 25% of our stores are less than 40,000 net rentable square feet. The bulk of the stores, about 50%, are from 40,000 to about 75,000 feet. And then we have some jumbo and very large locations over 100,000 square feet. And for that processing that we do for all of those locations, it really takes my whole team here at Universal to bring forth a specialty to the table for each of the locations. For example, David Dixon, our Vice President of Development, does all of the pro forma budget packages, and Sharon Pallas, who handles all the special events out at all of our locations. Shelley Gibson is our training director and continues with the HR and training functions. So Universal is really kind of a boutique management company. We have some very specialized stores, multiple Facility of the Year award winners, Managers of the Year, and we thank Minico for those designations. I currently have 3 locations that have wine storage. I have contractor spaces, laptop stations, coffee bars, and a whole list of other standard amenities that we include in the locations that make us a little bit different than most others. Pictured here is a sign in the Chicago area, and it represents the latest and greatest of digital signage that we use out at the locations. Featured within our group here at Universal are 4 areas of expertise that we offer. Of course, the fee management services that we'll be going into detail here in just a few minutes. Our consulting services. An owner might call me and want me to just come spend a day or 2 at the property to give them an overview of their operation and the effectiveness and see what things I can spot that might help them improve their immediate bottom line. Or we might be doing due diligence for an owner who wants to purchase an existing facility. Our training services, area number 3, involves not only classroom but on-site reviews and many associations that I do presentations for. And number 4, our developmental services. This includes our feasibility studies, our new store startups, where pictured here on the right is Avondale Self-Storage in Avondale, Louisiana, that just opened a few months ago. And for this owner, we started with the owner about 8 months ago, and he needed us to make sure he had all the right things and tools in place so that when he got his CO, he was ready to open the doors. So I designed the store, we created a logo, we did all the finished materials, I featured the bathroom photograph here, as well as setting up his marketing programs and website. So it was a very valuable service to him, and he's quite pleased with how it has turned out. First, we're probably going to go through the number 1 area of our expertise in detail. And what we bring to the table is a large operator's benefits for independently owned facilities. With our team's experience, we represent quite a lot of self-storage and property management experience all the way through the line in every level of our operation here at the home office. One of the benefits of that is that each of our clients retains ownership of their facility while having us serve as the fee managers. This brings to the table for them professional, unbiased proficiency on their behalf while being a standalone entity. I also produce an annual portfolio review that I share with the members of the Georgia Self-Storage Association annually in March, and have brought to the table today, we're going to look at in a few minutes, some of the important statistics resulting from last year's operation. In addition, our Human Resources Department makes sure that we're all meeting the legal requirements. So not only a state-of-the-art rental agreement from our great attorney Scott Zucker that many of you may have met and worked with, but our handbooks, our employment agreements, handling all the hiring and firing issues. It's very important that we provide that service to owners so that they are protected and that we manage any liabilities for them. Next, we all agreed, before we start out with a new customer, to an agreed upon flow of communication for the properties and the owners. So first, an owner would communicate their goals, their desires, tell me what it is they're trying to achieve with either their new development or an existing location. And then together, we work with the owner to establish and clarify those particulars and make any recommendations. Like I've used the example in the past that an owner calls me and tells me that he wants the staff to be wearing purple polka dot uniforms, and I'll say, okay, and I might do a little investigation, and we might recommend to that owner that perhaps purple polka dot might not be best, but here are a few examples that we would recommend. Once the decision is made, then we, as a home office team, communicate those decisions to the site staff. The site staff then gives Universal their feedback. And both Universal and the store manager, both the owners and the store managers have a key contact person here at Universal that they communicate with and through. We take that feedback from the managers at the store level to the owners and then get their instruction onto any issue that might have come up or that the manager has requested. So we really become the conduit for all communications. This makes it really easy for managers. That way they don't feel like they have, 5 or 10 bosses to answer to, and everyone's kept on the same page and moving forward. The worst thing that could happen is that someone break down the flow of communication, and then multiple people are working on the same project, wasting a little bit of time that way. So we find it's a great flow of communication and keeps everybody in the loop and happy and well informed. The next part of our service, as we've discussed, is just a breakdown of what's included in our fee management services. So first we do, like I just mentioned, begin with a review of that owner's goals and a site inspection for each of the existing stores. We've got to establish the current status. So we want to know if the owner wants us to help them develop a location that they will then flip maybe to a REIT for a sale within a few years, or the owner wants to develop this as a long-term asset for maybe their family, like an annuity, or maybe they want to create and build a portfolio with a localized brand. We have a great deal of experience with all of those situations, and we even manage for other management companies. So in that fee management parameter, a percentage of the income is what is taken by the management company, or while a store is in lease up, there's a monthly minimum until the fee is greater. So we're highly motivated to get those stores leased up. Our stores, our target stores are stores of at least 60,000 net rentable square feet. We find that makes the numbers work very well. And I can recall in my first days in the business discussing with a lot of operators at different conferences how the target was to have about 40% of the expense go to the income go to cover expenses, about 30% would cover the debt service and taxes, and leave 30% to go to the owner as cash flow, or as we call it, cash to owner. So about 60,000 net rentable square feet makes those numbers work in a store that is not over leveraged. Now, stores that are smaller, or ones that have absentee owners or have owner groups, are also great candidates for fee management services. I do, as I mentioned earlier, have several stores that are quite small. I think my smallest one is 222 units, and that owner owns a location that has no mortgage or debt service, so our fee management services still work very well for him. He has other businesses he's involved in, and fee management is the perfect solution for an owner who is already running other businesses. Maybe the owner is a developer, maybe they have some other line of work that they're already operating, and with a fee management company, they can continue focusing on what they do best, while allowing the fee management company to produce some wonderful results for them and report and get approvals through them. Now, today, especially in today's economic climate, professional management is required by most lenders for new operators, and possible discounts are given to owners that bring us multiple locations or single locations that might be very large in size and are stabilized. So let's go ahead and move to the next point that I want to make about fee management. And this happens to be a testimonial from a customer in whose stores are in South Carolina, and we've managed for him for over 6 years. And his quote was that from top to bottom, their staff and services are the best, and their attention to customer service, loyalty to staff, and creative thinking is always noteworthy. As yet, I have not seen a proposal that offered me anywhere near the level of services and products I'm currently receiving from UMC staff. In this fast-changing industry, UMC is always ahead of the curve, whatever the issue. And I think that really goes to the heart of our focus here as a company. Our mission statement is 6 very important words: maximize the income and improve the asset. And we seek to do that whether it's a brand new property or an old one that we might be rehabbing with the owner and taking over. This particular owner also won New Facility of the Year for new construction from Minico last year for the Myrtle Beach location, pictured here. Now, in delving into what actual services are included with the fee management, the staff are employees of Universal. So Universal handles their employment agreement, which is the outline that spells out clearly what the manager has to do each day, what days they're on duty, what hours they're on duty, what their responsibilities are. And Universal handles all the hiring, training, and supervision of the staff. In addition, our clients do receive benefits at our discounted rates. Whether it's our major medical programs that we're offering, the eye care, dental, the 401, our payroll services, tax reporting, and the required deductions, all of that is handled online. Our managers check in online and clock in and clock out online daily. We also help owners by establishing a unit mix and the price structure based on that market's position. We'll go out and do a little market survey to make sure we know where we fit within that neighborhood, because everything about self-storage management and operations is very much locally based. It's based on that sub-market surrounding that store. We also established the fee structure and policy for late and other charges, and offer bill payment and budget tracking with our monthly financials that are sent to the owners before the 15th each month. Most of their banks are now letting us have online access, so we can actually generate statements a little ahead of the 15th, and we make those available on our owners report website. Our fees as managers to the management company are paid in arrears, and we do not have other or miscellaneous account codes in our chart of accounts. We believe every single activity that you know of and expense that you know you're going to have has an account code. An example would be we have an account code for paying referral fees, because to us that's very important. We want to track how many referral fees we have paid for each of the locations. And we generate, as I said, statements and reports online so that multiple parties within a group can have access to the reports. A CPA might want to look at the monthly financials, while the owner, him or herself, might just want to look at current bids and management summary from this month's reports. So here pictured are 2 locations. One is in Omaha and the other one is in Palm Beach Gardens, and showing some happy managers working hard to help us all put money in the bank for that owner. In addition to the items that I've just mentioned on this first slide of what's included, let's break into a little bit of the special side that Universal brings to the table. We do a comprehensive marketing plan for each of our new client stores, showing what activities they should be having, what those are going to cost, what lead time has to be taken into consideration before scheduling one of those. Our budgets are very detailed, and managers are trained with those budgets to know what their targets are. We do in-house auction processing in every state that we're allowed to hold an auction without an auctioneer, and for all of my states I can do that currently. We also manage delinquency processes to keep those dollars collected before going to default. We all know that if we let the money get to be so big and the date of the money is so old, the customer has lost their emotional attachment to their goods, those items end up going to sale, and we want that to happen as few times as possible. We also have what we call our internal sign package. That's everything including the unit numbering, the keypad signs, the gate welcome sign, the lettering on the front door, a rule sign that we sort of call the Van White because we demonstrate it to every customer at move-in. So we've thought of all of those processes and how they need to be handled. As mentioned earlier, our online manager training is ongoing, but we do have one day, our annual awards and training day in Atlanta for all of our staff members. They come to Atlanta, usually it's July every year. We have the awards banquet that Saturday night. Their training day is all day Sunday, and we get them back to the stores by Monday morning. We also direct all the marketing, advertising, and promotional items the store is going to need and those on-site events. A full package for lease-up projections is included so that each month we see what type of product and how many of those units, both climate, non-climate, contractor, wine, safe deposit box, any of the kinds of products that we manage. We project how many of those leases is the target each month. So the manager clearly sees what the targets are for each of those areas and how that equates to rental income so they can meet their budgets. Managers also participate with their PMG process, we call that. That's the personal marketing goals that the manager and the team at the store take those actions outside of Yellow Pages or corporate marketing to generate their own traffic. And we have shown and can demonstrate that over the last 10 years, we've cut our costs to operate and advertise the stores, cut the cost per lease by doing this, and managers are personally involved within their neighborhood. As well, we produce something called our e-forms so that we don't pre-print forms anymore. These are loaded onto the computer system at the office so that when the manager needs an unusual incident report, a petty cash report, or any of the other reports that are within the system, they just click and print what they want of that particular form and go forward. So that, again, has saved a lot of money for the stores. And our stores are visited monthly by their area manager or maybe the auction coordinator, and a report is sent to the owner and given to the manager the day of the visit. So everybody, again, is kept on the same page, and we identify projects and things needing attention. The photos at the right on this page are from the Hawaii store that won Facility of the Year in 2006, and it features one of our coffee bars in the top picture and the store front entrance and the storage units behind it in the lower picture. Now I'd like to talk to all of you about something very special in our industry today, and that is the two words yield management. Yield management is our responsibility to get the maximum income out of the units that we have and getting as close to, if not increasing, the street rates on those units as are available and we can, while managing also the contract rates. That's the rates for the existing customer base. This happens to be a photograph of the Hawaii store inside the office with the happy owner on the right and Sharon Palace, my assistant who does our special events, seated. And we use multiple flat panel screens for the camera views and the graphics views. We use a three-dimensional logo in the middle and then the rule sign off to the right. And with this owner, we particularly assisted him at 9 months into the lease-up of flipping the store as a sale to Public Storage for our 5-year projected pro forma income. which was almost unheard of. So a store that fetched him in excess of $20 million with an expense to develop of less than 10. So we want our owners and all the people involved, when they're at the store, to ask, when's the last time we raised street and contract rates? We want owners to support our efforts to reduce delinquencies, allowing us to use one set of rules, even for their cousin, even for their in-laws, and old college buddies. We want this to apply to all occupancies, since we manage it by unit type, not by the total. And it helps us not to leave money on the table. If we have the last available 10 by 30 climate control units in a marketplace, we certainly don't want to be underpricing those. We also want all of our teams, as well as owners, to understand the push rate feature in their operating system. And we really like to train our managers to be so efficient at catching this and doing it as part of their daily process. They don't have to wait for the computer because they're already looking forward at what needs to be done. And I brought a couple of slides to you on the next two slides that can show you that if you will use yield management programs for your street and contract rates, you produce more income at a lower occupancy. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at those two slides. The first slide is an actual Atlanta property where I compiled a little spreadsheet of their 5-year income, rental rates, and occupancy. And as you can see, the green bars represent the unit occupancy. And over time, starting in 2002 and then going to the right, we really wanted to drive that occupancy down a little bit. It kept bumping, sometimes 97%, 94%. We really wanted it down at 90% because we know that's the most effective economic occupancy for us. So you can see in the green bars, we were able to drive down that occupancy a little bit to be more effective. So that consequently drove down the rental rate variance, which is the red bars. So as we increased those existing customers' rates that had been left alone and were producing high variances, and we managed our street rates, those variances disappeared. And you will see that the change in the monthly rate and the annual income increase, the blue bars at the bottom, both of those improved over the 5-year period. So those are just looking at the statistics. But here is where it puts money in your pocket, is on this next slide. By doing those programs, we proved that in 2002, the annual expenses were about $258,000 and the income was right at $700,000. But by 2006, the expenses had gone up by about $42,000, but the income had gone up $140,000. So we know all of you out there share with us in wanting to have that improved efficiency to your income. And great yield management programs allow us to do that. Now, next we're going to take a look at another unique feature that Universal brings to the table. And that is where, with our systems, you keep your identity, or as we say here, we create one for you. Shown on the right is our new store in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's a conversion of an old Walmart set to open in another month. And the portfolio there, and this store is the first one for these owners, is going to be called Blue Water Storage Center. And we'll be running U-Haul trucks out of there. It's a drive-through building with 100,000 feet of climate control storage throughout its phases. They'll have covered RV and boat parking. We have a full business center, coffee bar, laptop stations, and free Wi-Fi. A self-service kiosk by Insomniac will be there. And, of course, a full showroom of boxes, packing supplies with copy and fax services. So we offer to our clients no mandated operating name, and so, of course, that means no licensing fees. Each of these locations is absolutely unique, and to me that's very exciting. So we'll do a new store logo development and brand development if you're doing multiple locations. So another important facet to remember is that each of our locations has separate accounts. With us, there is no commingling of funds, as each account is zeroed out every month and the proceeds are turned over to the owner, less any reserves that he or she might want us to fund, and we can go forward with the new month starting all over again with our goals. So all of our clients do get to receive lower costs on a lot of things. it's the property insurance package, merchant services for processing credit card fees, website setup. We have pretty much standardized these programs so we can bring those discounts to our clients as they are needed, whether we're rehabbing or starting a new one. Now, I did mention a little bit earlier that our mission statement is maximize income and improve the asset, and that certainly is true. We do track and measure all the outcomes and programs that we have in place, and we provide the analysis and planning services that today's self-storage facility has to have, not only to stay competitive, but to be profitable. So we found that by turning everything into a number, we can then measure performance, whether the store is small or large, opened last month or 10 years ago. So it gives us a comparative analysis to industry standards. In this situation, we also compare our expense and income history to, as an example, the annual expense guidebook that Minico puts out. I'm waiting for my 2009 here soon. And any of the other standards that we see in the Almanac, as Poppy mentioned, or in any of the other standard industry publications where we're getting a statistical analysis. We want to see how we're doing. I do know that for 07 and 06, we beat the average performance for same-store sales that the REITs produced. So we were very proud of that, being able to have better performance than the big guys, so to speak. And our bill paying process allows us to have a standard financial reporting and tracking system using our chart of account codes. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how that translates into information that you can use on a daily basis at your facility. So the first thing I've brought is this next slide. And this is from my 2008 year-end presentation to the Georgia Association. This shows how we track expenses at the property, both as the dollar value per square foot, as seen on this slide, as well as, when we get to the next one, what percentage of the actual income was that. We find that you sort of have to track it both ways to see what the trend in the industry really is. So here you're seeing the cost per square foot to operate those stores for each of the main expense categories. And, you know, being dedicated to CTO means we've got to improve NOI. And you can see what a big jump we took from about 2002, an upward trend to increasing NOI for our clients through the years. We also count all of the square feet in the portfolio, even those for the new locations that, of course, is not occupied yet. So that might give you a meaningful comparison to your own numbers. Next, we're seeing how the expenses look when you take them as a percentage of the actual income. And I'll just point out one line item here you might look at. I've got my cursor surrounding it now, is the advertising category. And as you can see, we were at 3.71% of income last year for all the advertising marketing expenses. Well, that is drastically lower than when you look at it in 2002 when it reached its peak of 6.73%, which in my opinion was a little bit out of hand. So you are seeing that result in less dependence on the yellow pages for an existing location and other things that translate into real dollars for our owners and lower cost per lease. So you can track things in both ways, as the percent of income and as the cost per square foot. Now that brings us to the next slide, which is a comparison of the cost of management. Both as the dollars per square foot and the percentage of income. And by showing one item, which is here, management cost, this slide represents the cost of the fee management, the fee for the management company, all the store personnel who work at the location, their payroll deductions, their major medical package, along with any of the other little dental or vision insurance packages they take, and their bonuses. So all of the cost of the people is included under management cost. And you can see that in the last decade, in these 10 years we're looking at here, as a percentage of income, it has not spread more than just about 1 point over that amount of time, although the cost per square foot has certainly gone up, as all of us have seen spikes in health insurance and payroll cost. Next, I'd like to show you the slide that represents the average store move-ins, move-outs, net gain, and volume for the 10-year period. So this is the average per store, not the average for the portfolio, the per store average. And you can see that finally in 2008, our net gains recovered closer to the 2004 benchmark that we're after. Move-ins have started to go back up after going down in 07, and move-outs are starting to calm down. They skyrocketed after 9/11 and stayed high for quite some time, so we're glad to see that stability starting to come back. We will see, additionally this year, some instability in the marketplaces at all locations with regard to move-outs. So it's just something to be aware of. You know, there's just not as many pieces of traffic to each of the locations as there have been in the past. Now that comment brings me to my next slide, which is the traffic conversion ratios. We track this very carefully, and we believe there's two parts to converting a customer into a move-in. One is the measurement of all of your calls in relationship to all of your walk-ins. That measures our telephone techniques, our curb appeal, and our advertising, and how well managers generate their own traffic. The other number is walk-ins to leases. Once we get that person as a breathing body in our office, how well do we convert the traffic in front of us? And like everyone, we're seeing customers in 08 and continuing in 09. We're seeing customers show up more than once, call more than once. So it has dampened the conversion ratios, but still we are signing up the majority of people who walk in the doors. We are getting them signed up to leases. And this is where it can either cost an owner money or save an owner money by improving those traffic conversion ratios. And training the managers, again, is quite important. Next, you're going to see what the average per store calls, walk-ins, and leases has been over the decade. And this is an astounding piece of information to me, showing that the average number of callers, the yellow bars, has dropped dramatically in the last 10 years. And while actually being able to somewhat recover and keep the number of leases as high as possible. So I think you'll see with the dwindling number of callers, why your training and conversions are even more important than they ever have been. One of our goals is that the resulting leases at the end of every week or month should be greater than the number of calls that came in the door. And so you are seeing that in these bar charts. Next, I thought we'd take a look at the traffic source comparison. Where do the customers come from? And are you measuring that in your facilities? So we do measure everything. And if you just look at the yellow page leases, the people who said they found you in the yellow pages in the last 10 years, it has gone from 19% in the year 2000 down to 5% in the year 2008. Meanwhile, other, which this year for us, other was all internet leases. So for the first time, we've exceeded double-digit leases coming just from the internet, and I believe that that number will start to grow and grow and grow at a faster rate, a more exponential rate. But I think the most important thing when you look at this slide, although drive-by is about 36% of our portfolio's traffic source, when you add up what we call RRM, referrals, repeats, and marketing. You see that here in these three numbers. That was 50% approximately of the portfolio's business last year. And when we can get more leases from repeats, referrals, and marketing, we don't have to rely on yellow pages. And it brings those people directly to us. Next, we're just going to take a look at what's happening with the average length of stay. It's changing dramatically in the industry. First, I guess we'll do store demographics. Let me just grab this one for you real quick. This shows the trend that over time we are seeing about 80-20, 80% residential to about 20% commercial, and that's fairly consistent with what Poppy and her team report in the Almanac every year. We are, again, seeing a consistency in about 60-40 being the split between male and female, and more customers are coming from farther than 5 miles. So we see the percentage that come to us from 5 miles and under kind of dropping a little bit, nothing drastic there. But the important thing to remember is this last column. The average of those 45 years old and younger is dropping. So there is more of the baby boomers, which are in that next age category, 46 to 55-year-olds. They are becoming more and more of the renters. Now we're going to look at that average length of stay and number of days. And for the first time, we did see that number decline in 2008. And we know it's going to. I did an in-depth study for 3 of our stabilized older locations by comparing their average length of stay from 2007 to 2008. And saw a drop of up to about 300 days as the average. So if you know that you're getting fewer callers, your customers are staying a shorter amount of time, and you're getting new kinds of customers, not the kinds of customers you get before, you've got to have marketing systems in place that can react to that and produce a result. So those are some of the things we're working on this year here in 09. Now, when it comes to testing the waters and are the customers happy with our services, we do a comment card results program where everyone that moves out is sent a self-addressed stamped envelope response card, and we had a 10.1% response rate, a very good sampling for any marketplace. Of those, 97% of those said they would rent again and they would refer us to others, something that is very important for us. So our managers keep these on their front desk in a kind of a giant Rolodex as proof of their satisfied customers that prospects can thumb through while they're standing at the desk, maybe buying a box or something, and see how happy we keep our customers. Very important for retention, since that number of days they're staying with us gets to be shorter. Next, we want to look at the averages for our portfolio. So here I'm showing you our average store size in 2008 was 70,105 net rentable square feet. That was 565 units per store with an average unit size of 124 square feet. Most of our locations are suburban, so that 124 square feet would be about right. For urban locations, it's going to dip under 100 and probably be closer to about 90 square feet. Our average gross possible was $11.69 a square foot a year, or 97 cents a square foot a month. And in 2008, we averaged $30.54 per lease as our box sales and moving supply sales to each rental agreement. And we set a target for that and want to see that number continue to go up. We also use a coded model in each of our facilities where the floor represents the 5x5, the 5x10, 10x10, etc., so that we can be good visual merchandisers, since we know that in this day and age you have to be great visual merchandisers to get the customer's attention and to keep it, not just on the website. So now, as we move through these other programs, here is our auction and delinquent summary for the year. 1.4 units sold per store per month at $132 average sales price. That's about a 25% recovery rate of all the money owed, and we ended up selling about 21% of all the units that were lettered for auction. Our year-ending delinquency was 5.7%. That's 0.7% higher than the company goal, but December for us was the lowest number since March of 2008. And again, right here I show you some information about the fees assessed versus fees waived and our goal for that. Next is the manager's personal marketing goals and the results for 2008. As I mentioned, these are the messages, visits, and calls by those managers, and they average 563 per store per month, or 6,751 for the year. And this year, everything is being driven to online activity, which is a much lower cost for us. So we do use technology extensively in our systems, our online training web interface that we've talked about, online reporting. We use SiteLink Web Edition as our operating software by SMD, and our pay-per-click advertising programs this year are with Flyline. Call center programs this year are with XPS for after hours or when the managers are busy. And we do maintain cash balances based on online banking for our clients. And the store websites development is with a company called Automated. And all of our store websites can take payments and rentals, a key ingredient for any website in today's self-storage industry. Also, kiosks are used in our newest locations and retrofitted so that customers can make payments and rentals anytime, 24/7, 365, which is very convenient. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about our consulting services and one or two other things before we wrap up for the day. And those consulting services can include site design and layout, market research, zoning planning presentations, the marketing plan development, designing the store, such as I did for the Avondale, Louisiana group that you saw with the office layout and finished materials, which includes a 5-year detailed expense projection. Income is also included, and or review existing sites and personnel. So I featured here on the right a recent group in Toronto, which is a great SSA member, House Bradley. Security Self-Storage out of Ohio, which is Norm Kotoch Jr. and Sr., and I did the feasibility on their new store, which won Facility of the Year overall this year. I'm very proud of that. And at the bottom is a picture of my group in Galway, Ireland, that I work with. Next, our training services. As soon as we get that popped up, can include classroom, which I've done. In the middle picture, it shows a group in Adelaide, Australia, who thought it would be all funny to wear hats to mimic the hats that I wear. Or it can be an association presentation as featured in the top photo for the state of Texas, or on the bottom one in Sydney, Australia. So those training services can be sort of one-on-one or in small groups to very large groups for national and international associations. Our fourth area of service involves our developmental services, and this would include our feasibility studies. Most studies that we do not get a go-ahead. Unfortunately, they're not going to make the mark, so to speak, to be successful. For the ones that are approved, they're allowed to convert to management so that we can take them right through construction and into opening and have everything ready. Other development services are the new store startups, which includes all the consulting services that you need to open the doors, and it's provided on a fixed monthly rate. So as we get toward the end of this, we would imagine you would be asking, are we a good fit for each other? And here are the pros and cons I came up with. Yes, Universal would be a good fit for you if you want peak performance, if you want your investors to be happy, if you want to see consistent operating techniques and results, if you want one point of contact with all of our specialists here behind that person here at UMC to help, if you want to clearly outline your goals and allow professionals to achieve those goals for you. What I thought of something that might not be a good fit would be if you cannot allow others to work the plan, as we have all agreed it should be. We might not be a good fit if you intend to maintain day-to-day control. Also, we might not be a good fit if you cannot communicate to us your clear goals and expectations. And the last one I thought of is that if you have not allowed adequate funding for your lease-up, then we're not going to be a good fit for you. So I tried to present some pros and cons based on our experience. Now, here I presented how you can, of course, get more information contacting David Dixon, who is our Vice President for Development, or me, both here in our office phone or fax or on the web. And we do focus on the southeastern United States. So for those that fit those parameters that I've outlined today, and we might be a good fit for each other, you could go ahead and call or email us today to start improving your operation. And as our ad campaign for this year says, who's at your helm? So we do steer storage owners in the direction of success in all 4 of those areas: training, fee management, consulting, and developmental services. So at this time, I believe we're going to take some questions, and we'll go back to Poppy Behrens of Minico for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ann. Great presentation. I have quite a few questions here for you. The first one is, let's see, is your consulting service for new stores and development only, or also for established stores before purchase during the buyer's due diligence period?
Absolutely it is. We have done quite a few due diligence service packages, and have a pretty standard package that we could send out outlining what's included.
Okay, next question. Can you explain more about your marketing process, such as, do you require your store managers to do most of your marketing? If so, how do you train them, and how do you hold them accountable?
And I think that's an excellent question. Yes, we do train and hold them accountable for that. Through the years, we have taken what used to be a written process measurement tool and turned it into an online measurement tool, so they can just fill in some numbers at the end of each month to report how they did against their goals. But the first thing is something that the question really hit on. The managers have to be trained. They have to learn how to make cold calls. They have to learn how to get the addresses and people they want to reach out to. They can fill their spaces. They can get all that information online. It's free, and we teach them how to do that. And then they have to have the right message in their package that they're either handing out or emailing or distributing at a chamber meeting. So again, our staff here, Stacy Haynes is our Web and Communications Director, and she will proof all of that and get those items ready for them so they have appropriate materials to hand out. She also does all their promotional items, so we know that they can't just deliver pieces of paper. They have to have something that has 3 dimensions to it. So we use everything from an emery board that might be sent with a marketing letter that says, your files belong with us, and this is a little nail file. And it has the store logo and web and phone number on it. So we try to tie all of our activities into low-cost, very creative things, and then measure what's going on at the store. Sometimes managers need more training. Sometimes they just need to be better time managers. Sometimes we hold their hands, and sometimes you can just turn them loose depending on their skill level. So we're going to assess the skill level and see how much training. But, for example, my team had a training class yesterday about teaching managers to use their digital cameras for marketing, capture those great marketing moments and testimonials. And the manager had not even thought of that yet. So we had an online class for everybody yesterday dealing with that subject.
Great. One more part of this question, are your managers incentivized for marketing?
No, marketing is part of the job description. The incentive is they get to keep their job, and I hope people don't think I'm being rude in saying that. But you can go to any conference, any group of self-storage professionals anywhere around the world, and they will all tell you that marketing is part of the regular job these days. We incentivize our managers on the result at the end of the month, meaning all the money that came from all the locations we can get money from. That's the measurement for the manager's bonus program.
Okay, wonderful. Next question. I have a facility with a large delinquency percentage. How would you handle that?
Well, for a large delinquency percentage, and I hate to say this, but the Almanac even proves me out on this one, I think, that owners tend to be the worst ones at collecting their own debts. So an owner-managed facility coming to us with a high percentage delinquents, I've got one right now that we're taking over April 1st. And first we identify the real status by auditing the records, leases, and making sure the addresses are correct and all of that. We reach out and we know that there's nothing better than phone calls to collect delinquent money. So any day that there's $1 delinquent on a property, the manager needs to be making collection calls. And we know that the weekends are great for that because a lot of people are home on the weekends. So we kind of operate under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act as far as guidelines of when they can make calls and the things that they can and should do. Once we identify who the real delinquents are, we're probably going to have a large auction to get people who've been allowed to be delinquent and who will not pay out in for an auction. So typically, it takes about 120 days to see some results and clean the mess up, and then we can move forward with more realistic delinquent goals and processes so that we don't let them be delinquent and keep them delinquent. We invite a customer at check-in. The last thing we do is invite them to be on our auction mailing list, and we show them the calendar where we have an auction at every property every month. Don't you want to come? And that's a nice way to convince somebody they need to pay their bill on time.
Okay, next question is, what is the rough percentage of your clients who have acquired an existing facility, then fired the existing managers to hire your staff and use your service instead?
Takeovers, it's probably maybe 50%, maybe even a little bit bigger, and we don't always fire the existing on-site managers. You know, if they have a lot of knowledge and, you know, we can keep the system going forward, we can retrain them and go forward. I'm thinking of 2 or 3 cases where we've done that successfully. But mostly, if we identify that the managers are not going to work, then we want to make that recommendation and identification as soon as possible so we can go forward trying to get the manager who is right for that store. Did that answer all of that question, Poppy?
I think so.
Okay.
Next question, will my expenses go up by using your service?
It may seem that, yes, the expenses will go up because of our management fee, but I can say that because we bring so many discounts to the table, whether it's on major medical and employee benefits or the property's insurance package or any of the other large line items in the budget, we typically have earned more than our fee back for the clients from the very beginning. And we have, most of our clients tell us they see about a 30% improvement.
Great, wonderful. Let's see, one more question here. How involved should owners be with their store?
Well, I have every level of involvement, but the most important thing is that the owners do what the person who taught me the self-storage industry and taught me very well, is that we want the owners there. They need to be there because their managers do better when they see that the owners are interested in how things are going. But we want the owners to report back to us anything they want changed, anything they spotted. You know, and certainly be friendly and discuss things with the manager, but try not to give the manager the day-to-day instructions because that starts causing ripples of problems in the system. So we have to protect our owners, and we want to protect the managers as well, you know, and manage the liabilities that can come forth. So we want owner involvement, but we want them to use the agreed-upon flow of communication.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I think we are just about out of time for today. Anne, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation.
It's been my pleasure.
Good, good. We'd like to thank everyone who attended today's webinar, and we certainly hope we provided you with some useful information to assist you in your investment and development endeavors. You will be receiving an email shortly with a link to the archived presentation, so make sure you watch your inbox for this email. And we also would like to announce that our archived webcasts are now available for MP3 download, so you can visit our website to check on that. We thank you again for attending, and everyone have a wonderful rest of the day.